Peace, peace, peace. I am Phillip Roundtree, and you are tuned into the June 11th edition of Rhetorically Speaking. Shout out to those who are watching on Facebook Live. Props to the people who are watching on YouTube Live. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And hello to you, Instagram folk. What's up, Kelsey? How you feeling? Make sure y'all come over to this side of town so you can see how I got this thing set up over here. Yo, first I want to give a shout out to the people who take showers like right before Zoom meetings. So I call myself not showering a day till about 6:50, right? What's up, now? Till about 6:50, knowing that I'm about to go on air at 7 o'clock. And so I'm in there. You can't really get a good shower in when you under duress. Like, you know what I mean? Something like the water don't feel quite right. You can't hit the spots like you typically used to hitting them when you rushing. And so from 6:50 to about 6:53, I was in my shower bag. So shout out to y'all Zoom folk who wake up late, still try to get presentable, wash your face and all that. Much love to y'all. So listen, we're gonna get right into it. Yesterday, I was talking about NASCAR and how I have no idea why they're getting the props that they're getting for banning the Confederate flag from within their park. So that means both they won't be posting the Confederate flag, nor will fans be able to bring Confederate flags to the park. And so people think that's a result of NASCAR. No, that's a result of their lone black driver, Bubba Wallace. Again, I think his name is Darrell Wallace Jr., which is... it's just one of them names, man. It's one of them names. That could actually go both ways because I'm not into NASCAR much, but I know that there is a Rusty Wallace, and I'm sure he Caucasian. I feel like I'm 99.9% positive he's Caucasian. And so when you hear Darrell Wallace Jr., it could go both ways. Then when you throw the Bubba on it, it's just like, nah, he not black, is he? And then I saw the picture. I said, hot damn. Bubba Wallace is a Negro. Now you might be like, why are you shocked? Well, NASCAR, and I talked about it yesterday, they've only had 7 black drivers in their entire existence. Right? So I doubt there's been any overlap in black drivers. And if it has, I wonder what those conversations will be like within the crew, within the pit, like when y'all chilling or going somewhere, like, yo, it's just me and you, dog. Like, that's it. You ever go somewhere where it is just you? And again, this isn't about race or ethnicity. This could be on both sides. This could be, you and you find that only other black person that's in the room and y'all make eye contact. You get one of those. And that's it. You don't got to say no words. You don't got to do none of that. Right? Because you know exactly what it is. Same thing with white folk. White folk might go in a room where it's some marginalized people in there. We talking about black folk, we talking about brown folk, potentially Asian folk, depending on what side of the tracks they from. And they might look around, they see it. I don't know. I wonder what it says it's called college where I went. Facts. I wonder what white folk would call it though. What that experience is like when white folk go into an environment where they're the only one. And so they're like, hey, hey, they wondering what's going on. Like, I'm always curious. Like, I want to sit down with like a white person who joined like a fraternity or a sorority. One of the Divine Nines, let me clear that. Not the Kappa Kappas or nothing like that, but like a Kappa Alpha Psi or Omega Psi Phi. I know one white guy, cool dude, and he looks like he'll be a Darrell Wallace Jr. Just how he carries himself with that type of, I hate to use the term swag, but with that type of swag, right? And so I'm curious about that. So yeah, I was talking about NASCAR yesterday, and so today we had a development, and the development was Ray Ciccarelli, and I guess I'm saying his name right. NASCAR's Ray Ciccarelli said, "I'm quitting over the Confederate flag ban." Now I saw black folk posting like, "Good riddance, bull." And so I'm like, you know what? Let me check. Let me see what he's about. He raced 0 races this year. He's in like their truck series. But you know what? I can appreciate him keeping it real. He's saying, listen, this is who I am. This is what I believe in. Right? Even if it's a symbol of hate, even if it's a symbol of oppression, I'm out. And if for those of y'all who are on IG and not on Facebook, I encourage you to go over there, Facebook or YouTube, Quantify LLC. If you look at him, he looks like the commish. Right? I don't know if y'all old enough to know about the TV show The Commish. He was also in another show. I actually watched every episode of that series, but it escapes me, probably because it wasn't the best. But he's a portly white guy, bald head, right? If you came across him, you might look and be like, yeah, I don't know about you, brother. I don't know about you. Like, he looks like the type who has a big monster truck, and I hate the stereotype, but I'm a stereotype anyway. Like, he has a big monster truck, those 80-inch tires, right? Because it seemed like everybody with a Confederate flag got those big monster trucks, 80-inch tires. They got it draped across the back window. They might got some sticker on there, like it might be a Jesus fish. But in conjunction with the Jesus fish, you got like a MAGA symbol. You know what I'm saying? Exact. Told you, Kelsey. Come on over. You know what I mean? come on over. It's fancy over here. And so he says he's quitting. And you know what? Good riddance. Right? Good riddance. And I say that because this is where we are these days. This is 2020. Right? This is 2020. This isn't 2016. This isn't 2010. No, you either going to follow along or you going to get up out the paint. What's up, Steve? It's straight like that. You either going to get in where you fit in. When we talk about this fight for equity amongst black folk, amongst brown folk, or you going to get left behind. And so he choosing sides, right? Nascar saying, listen, we don't want the Black Lives Matter folk. Antifa, I have no idea what Antifa is. I had to Google it to see that it stood for anti-fascist. And I ain't going to even talk about the 75-year-old man who y'all president talked about, right? But you're going to either get on board or you're going to get left behind. And so I'm not spending too much time on him because racists don't deserve that, right? He don't deserve that type of attention. So, good riddance to you, brother. Dan Christopher says, I like to call those cars or trucks that are outfitted with various stickers of political views as Vanifesto. I like that. Vanifesto. I'm actually stealing that right now. I hope you got it coined, right? Because that's now mine. That's just, I'm pretending I'm American. I am American, right? And that's such an interesting conversation that we can have at a later date, which James Baldwin, the amazing writer, talked about, was how black folk, and this is something that I think white folk truly need to understand, for so long, and even now, right? If you ask me, I might say I'm African American, right? But more leaning towards the African part and not necessarily the American part, because here in America, we don't necessarily feel like Americans. We don't feel like this is home. But when we do travel to different countries, and I'm not going to act like I've been everywhere, I've been to Mexico twice, and they treat you like you're American. And so a black American at that. So all of those stereotypes that come with that are attributed to you. And so it's just like in one place, I don't feel like it's home, but in this other place, they're telling me that's where I'm from, and I have all the attributes of somebody and the characteristics of somebody from that place. So you can imagine like the inner turmoil that can exist for black folk who have to deal with the nonsense of Starbucks. And we just going to get right into it. Starbucks. Starbucks prohibits workers from wearing anything endorsing Black Lives Matter. Moment of silence for Starbucks. Rest in peace to Starbucks. It's not really rest in peace to Starbucks because we know people are fickle. We know people are fickle. Black, white, brown. People are fickle. But they found themselves in such a pickle. They're prohibiting workers from wearing anything endorsing Black Lives Matter. And this is after they come out with the generic statement, and we've seen this from so many companies time and time and time and time again, especially within these last few weeks. We stand in solidarity with the black community. I told you I was playing Call of Duty. And I'm about to play it, and it says, we stand with the black community is hurting right now. No, it said our community is hurting right now. We stand in solidarity with the black community. And I'm like, Call of Duty, I'm just trying to come kill some people real quick. And it's going to take more than you putting this message up to tell me that you're in true solidarity with the black community. But again, this is what we're seeing because, again, you got to pick a side. And so Starbucks put out their statement alluding that they were picking a side. Even if we go back the last couple years, they've been forced to pick a side. Remember, right here in Philadelphia, 2 black brothers were harassed by the police within a Starbucks. They got reported for buying coffee while black and quote-unquote loitering. And what happened? Starbucks became headline news. They were on the front page of every website. And we should have known the bullshit that they were on. I'm probably sure their diversity and inclusion department. You know how I feel about those terms. Diversity and inclusion. You got to have a special department to show that you're for you to be a leader. Because that's what we're talking about. When we're talking about equality in hiring practices, whether it's women, whether it's black or brown folk, we're talking about how can you be a leader? So yeah, I'm not necessarily a fan, and you need some type of oversight for that to take place. So that means that something is fundamentally wrong within your organization. And so Starbucks came out, they said, ho, ho, ho. No. Like Diddy Ho, we shutting the studio down. We are shutting the studio down. We gonna give them 1 day of diversity training. It's just like, 1 day. Some diversity training. Shout out to my mama who got all the exclamation points. Kelsey says, I feel like so many people are like, oh shit, I'm gonna look bad if I don't say something. So let's throw some generic shit together so we can keep making money. Exactly. Because that's where we are in society. And I can't sit here and say I'm mad at them, because that's the game. Now you just hope that some of these people are real with their intentions. And so Starbucks, even though I'm not a fan of Starbucks, I think they're very overrated. However, it's just like, okay, they're trying something. They responded. And so yes, it could be a response that was kind of lackluster. But it was a response nonetheless. And now here we are, fast forward, and they're prohibiting workers from wearing anything endorsing Black Lives Matter. I'm gonna get to this post from one of their employees. She said, I might get fired for this, but I'm calling Starbucks out. How are y'all gonna say we can't wear anything BLM because it's a personal issue, but have us wear and profit off Pride Month shirts, cups, gift cards? BLM and Pride were both created to fight injustice. What's the difference? Hey, she said it. She said it. But and this is what stokes the flames between the LGBTQ plus community and the black community. Because yes, both are oppressed. And so when we're talking about black folk who intersect with LGBTQ plus, it's like you're effed. I'm not going to curse because my mama there. They're doubly effed. But yet here you are showing them this love, this attention. You're standing behind them and what solidarity looks like. But when it comes to Black Lives Matter, you're saying, oh no, you can't wear anything related to that. But let's take a deep dive into why that is, right? So you have your president. You have your various police commissioners, police union heads. You have governors, you have mayors who come out and say Black Lives Matter is a terroristic organization. Now, somebody with the cognitive wherewithal and the ability to think critically would say, nah, I wouldn't say it's that. Maybe they're just speaking to the point of saying Black Lives Matter because of the systemic racism and injustices that exist within America. And this is them coming together as a unit. Because clearly you don't want to listen to them as individuals. And so here it is, the collective. It's a collective voice. And we know the collective goes much further than the individual voice. So what Starbucks is saying is, nah, we view them in that same light. And I think their statement echoes it. So it says, hello. First off, who starts a tweet with hello? Hello, all U.S. CEO partners, I don't know what CEO means, company partners, maybe it's company, will be sent a Starbucks partner shirt to lend our collective voice in support of our Black partners, customers, and communities. The design will come from the Black Partner Network, emphasizing our role and responsibility to not be bystanders. Mindy Mercurio says, so formal. Super formal. It sounds like Roger Goodell when he read his prepared statement last week, and we'll get into the NFL next. Hence the reason why I say blind, deaf, and dumb. Because what you're saying is, we don't view this organization, we don't view this movement as being legitimate. That white validation. Right? This isn't valid to us. We don't recognize them. We're going to go to the good Negro organizations who we know. We're going to get our merchandise from them. And what they're also saying is, I'm going to say it. We don't want to mess up the money from the quote unquote real patrons at Starbucks. Right? No different than the NFL with kneeling. Got to toe the line. Because we can't mess up the money from the real people who might be offended if they see Tanisha with the Black Lives Matter wristband, with the Black Lives Matter pendant. Again, it's about that bottom dollar. But again, I keep going back to that Jay-Z line. Is it Uchiwali or is it One Mic? Is it Black Girl Lost or is it Shorty You Owe Me for Ice? Which is it, Starbucks? We know what it is. We know you're plumb dumb. And so these are one of those, you know, those types of people that I don't even want to say they're unintentionally racist, unintentionally prejudiced. No, I think they've pretty much made up their mind that they don't stand for anything. that they're going to continue to sway back and forth no matter where the wind blows. Because again, it's about that green. Happy birthday to my brother Reese Williams. It's about that green. And so if it means that I got to go to this black side real quick and put out this statement, especially during the times when they looting stores, I got to make sure my store. Hey, black folk, we good. Yo. With y'all. You know, you ever be around, it's like that uncomfortable white person. You might walk up to them and shake their hand, give them a little extra dat, put a little sauce on the dat. They're a little confused, but they go along with it. Then they look, Bob, I have no idea what. Just go with it. That's where they are. But again, when people show you who they are, you gotta believe them. Says the great God bless the dead Maya Angelou. And so Starbucks has shown us who they are. Now, when we talk about allyship, what does that look like? Starbucks should be shutting down. Oops, my bad. They're already shutting 400 stores down. They're transitioning. Listen, their time is over because people are starting to realize these chain establishments, these big box companies, they don't mean well from the community. The mom and pop store been told y'all that. They been told y'all Walmart wasn't sugar honey iced tea. And again, they got the ally game all messed up. They put out a statement saying they're no longer going to put multicultural hair products behind the case. And to my non-black folk, I don't even know if you knew that. I don't even know if you knew that I'm trying to think of something. That the jam. Like that just for me. I don't think y'all knew that was behind a case in Walmart where we got to get the person to come over and open it up for us in order to get our hair products. We talking about 2020. But we knew what Walmart been about. When their employees threatened to organize, they showed us who they were. So why are we surprised? Now, the dumbest thing they could have did, because that's when you get somebody, you ever have been around somebody that talk too much? Sometimes people say it's me. That should have been something that went under the radar. Matter of fact, send a memo out to the store owners, store managers rather. Yo, like Mr. Clark, and that infamous lean on me scene. Get the chains off the door. The enemy is here. Get the chains off the door. Get them products from behind lock and key. The Negroes are here. But hey, they are who they are, man. They are who they are, and we can't be surprised. Reese says, you're right, they're walking the fine line of not openly supporting an all pro-black movement. Starbucks should be patronized by us at all for life. Completely agree. But again, we talking about people here. And we know how people are. People are fickle. Once we starting to see, the world's starting to open up. I've seen maybe about 4 masks in Dollar General when I was in there. Literally like 4. Everybody else is walking around like COVID not around no more. So don't expect Starbucks to come out with another statement. Matter of fact, they will come out with another statement because they don't get it. That sometimes the best thing you do is shut up and just be quiet and let things bubble over and pass. And so when I say people are fickle, people going to be right back at Starbucks, drinking that corny behind coffee, getting them weak fraps, using that corny language. What's that, French? Venti? I had French. Shout out to Gioso for 4 years. I still don't know French. But again, when we talk about people not getting it and people who claim to be allies, let's look no further than the NFL. So the NFL today pledged to spend $250 million over 10 years to combat systemic racism. Let me get them off my screen because I don't need the NFL in my sights right now. Sounds good, right? And this is on top of the $100 million that the Players Coalition, who came together after Colin Kaepernick kneed and took all the arrows and said, listen, we're going to try to partner and advocate for social justice. NFL, give us your money. So they said, okay, here's 8 years, $100 million. I'm no math major, but I think that's a little bit over what, 11.125 a year? Ooh! Social workers to do math too, baby. And so here they are adding another $250 million over top of it. Now, I wish I had Roger Goodell's statement from last week, where it sounds like he was being held hostage in his basement, reading off a teleprompter. The NFL is completely against systemic racism. We stand with the black community. It sounded like one of those C-level movies, the way he was reading it. But that's because we had to put pressure on him. Just like Bubba Wallace put pressure on Nascar to get rid of the Confederate flags. You think they came up with that idea by themselves? No. And so now here they are again, giving out more money. Meanwhile, not Nan NFL owner has come out to speak about it. To speak about everything that's transpired within the last 3 weeks. No Jerry Jones, no Jeffrey Lurie, no... Matter of fact, the guy, I think his name is Khan. He owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. He came out and spoke about it. Why? Because he's a part of that marginalized group. But everybody else has been silent. Because they know what the deal is. The NFL doesn't care about black people. Even though Roger Goodell said there will be no NFL without black people. Again, when people tell you who they are and they show you who they are, you got to believe them. We saw who they were when they went with Kaepernick, where they were so loud and outspoken about kneeling. Peaceful protest. But now here we are with violence in their cities. Police brutality in their cities. Mum's the word. George Floyd, Philando Castile was killed in Minnesota, Minneapolis. I think it's an NFL franchise there, right? Oh, yeah. The Minnesota Vikings. But again, they're quiet. And I'm not going to sit here and act like the NBA has done any better. The NBA has policies against kneeling or doing anything. What's the word I'm looking for? that they're not towing the line during the national anthem. They have rules in their rule book related to that. But the NFL is smart. They recognize that it's a player-driven league. They recognize that, you know what, LeBron James is worth billions and billions and billions of dollars in revenue. That's why when Dan Gilbert came out after he left and went to Miami, the NFL was in an uproar. That's why when that ish went down with Donald Sterling, they had to get him up out the paint. Because they not messing with the bread. And that's the thing. If you want to keep money at the forefront, keep money at the forefront. And what that means is sometimes you got to capitulate and say, listen, y'all got it. I'm with y'all. I'm riding with y'all. Even if you don't believe that in your heart of hearts. So when you see Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, who looks like a fool after giving $1 million to the police department and they killed George Floyd, you have your big black stars come out who are the face of the franchises, the face of the league, and you still not out here saying nothing? They telling you what they think about the black player. They telling you what they think about the black fan. Even though we knew what they thought about black folk based off their poor history of hiring black folk. And so now here they are. They want to give out $250 million. They want to donate the grant, donate to organizations. The NFL Foundation has funded 350 grassroots organizations, yada, 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 yada. Again, we can't be easily impressed. We can't be easily swayed. Because at this point, it's about accountability. It's about accountability. Do I think the NFL is going to not exist at any point? No. These sports will continue to flourish. We know who the primary customer base is for places like the NFL, for places like NASCAR. And so that's what it is. I ain't got no solutions for them. That's not my job. They hire people for that. But all I know is it's about us. It's about us coming together, right? It's about black folks staying together, keeping the same energy, moving forward as we attack every aspect. Every aspect that is harming the black community. Whether we're talking about police brutality, whether we're talking about education, whether we're talking about the ever expanding wealth gap. And for white folk, listen, if you're going to be an ally, be an ally. Some of y'all, again, a lot of y'all during this time, I appreciate y'all. But y'all still on ally probation like I talked about yesterday. You got to show and tell. You got to show and prove. Holding a sign saying Black Lives Matter, that ain't it. Wearing a mask that say Black Lives Matter. Taking pictures with your black friends. Calling in and checking up on your black friends saying, hey, are you okay? Yes, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful start. But man, if you don't use your privilege, get up in your privilege bag, start banding together to call one another out, that's the mark of a true ally. I be so proud when I be running up on my white friend's posts. Shout out to Kelsey. I'm sorry. Yo, listen. If you bringing up his past, then you would bring up my past, talking about George Floyd. And you ain't no friend of mine if you won't bring that up as far as some justification. And so that's real. Says ally probation, love it. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a lot of people on probation right now. Right? This stuff is cool. This stuff is cool. But what happens when you start running out of steam? What happens when the world opens back up? Then what's going to happen? You going to be, you're going to be out there drinking your mojitos? Forgetting what Black Lives Matter meant? Not calling out your friends anymore? Like this the real struggle. You know what I mean? This is the real struggle. To somehow topple a system, even though I don't think the system could ever be toppled. Just because I think too much harm, too much damage, and too much reinforcement has been done. But what we can talk about, just like when we talk about opioid use, we talk about harm reduction. How can we minimize the harm to marginalized communities? Right? Maybe on the other side of that, maybe then we can start seeing some justice. And I don't know how homeboy came up with that $750,000 to get out of jail. Guy in Minneapolis with one of the officers charged with in the killing, the murder of George Floyd. He came up with that $750,000. They probably put everything up. But again, if we talking about allyship, man, we gotta do the work. Donations. Jasmine says donations. Man, I'm not even interested in donations. Donations don't do anything, man. We see what donations are doing. Everybody donating. But want me to tell you how you could tell that the donation is nonsense? Look where the donation is going. Oh, he got out because of donations. Oh, yeah. Oh, no doubt. Oh, that's how he got out. Word. Makes sense. Again, this is America. Childish Gambino told us that. So, yeah, I mean, listen, if people willing to donate to him and he could get out, cool. But as long as when that time come and the rubber meets the road, he need to be doing some time. But when we talk about donations from these different companies, look at where the money is going. Look at where the money is going, to the NAACP legal fund. Come on, man. Like, no shade, no disrespect to the NAACP. Because they've done a lot of great work over the years. But if you asking black folk, if you having conversations with black folk about where money should be diverted to, the NAACP not the first name on the list. It might not even be the fifth. But you know what it is? When they having those conversations in those rooms with people that don't look like us, or the people that don't look like them, they're like, hey, what's that organization that the black folks, that the colored folk like? The NFL? No. The NBA? Yeah, they like that, but no. Damn it, that NAACP chip. We gonna donate money to the NAACP. That'll make us look good. And so we seeing a lot of these places donating to the NAACP, and shout out to them. Hopefully they do some great works with the funds. Now, if you told me they was sending money to some of these local bail funds, these community bail funds, to the actual Black Lives Matter group fund, then I could be like, oh, you know what? You did a little bit of homework. You did a little homework. Dan Christopher says, I saw this quote that said, I might not see the end of systemic racism, but my grandchildren might. It makes me want to continue to work to learn and challenge the system. Salute to you. My grandchildren not seeing it. I'm just not as optimistic because, again, we talking about damage. We talking about the damaging of a people for centuries and centuries. That's ingrained in the fabric. We might see incremental progress. But Jim Crow just stopped being a thing about 50 years ago. And that was in existence post the Civil War. Hundreds and hundreds of years. So I'm not as optimistic because, and again, this takes everybody being on one accord. This talks, this looks like systems. Again, we talking about the educational systems. You saw a poster yesterday about Meek Mill dropping out in the 10th grade. It can't be the end of systemic racism when we got somebody dropping out in the 10th grade. It doesn't look like that. Because that speaks to so many other issues. That's a byproduct of so many different issues. It's like, I don't know if you've seen the graphic, but picture, we're talking about, we see grass, we see the topsoil dropping out of 10th grade, everything that comes from that, underneath the roots. We're talking about wealth inequality. We're talking about health disparities. We're talking about access to resources. We're talking about so much. Now, that doesn't mean we stop the work that we do. That doesn't mean we don't get up every day and do the best that we can with what we have. It means just the opposite. We got to dream, right? We got to hope. We got to wish them up good wood. You know what I'm saying? So listen, man, I appreciate y'all tuning in. On Monday, we will be back with hashtag You Good Man Mondays. Check it out. In about 15 minutes, I'm going to be going live again. I'm going to be live streaming a crowdcast from the SIFT. I'll be doing an interview with SIFT, Sisters in Film and Television, and they'll be playing this film called Finding Elijah. It's about 25 minutes long. It's a documentary, and it chronicles a mother, a real-life mother, Miss Yolanda Johnson Young, who lives here in Philadelphia, and she found out about the death of her son by suicide. Elijah was about 19, 20 years of age, and as soon as she found out, she said, "Let me film this." Wild, right? Because I don't even know if I would have had the ability to think about filming something that could be beneficial for the people. And so we're going to be watching her film as she tries to understand her son after his dying by suicide. And so after, I had a small little role in it, just talking about mental health. But after that 25 minutes, I'll be engaged in the Q&A. Again, I'll be live streaming it from here. So that starts at 8 o'clock. So I'm going to take me a little break real quick and be right back. Listen, man, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for tuning in.